How's it going, Iron Horse followers? We're here at the Iron Horse Garage, and haven't posted anything on YouTube in a while, so I thought I'd kind of give you guys some ideas of what we did on upgrades on this thing to try to keep maybe some catastrophic failures happening like it did last time, and just give you a little update on what we're doing here. We are really close to just getting this thing buttoned up. So the reason of the failure that we had, there is in the front of the motor there's an oil galley plug. That oil galley plug, my idiot self forgot to put that in. And of course it was pushing all the oil out the front of the motor. And when we tore the old motor down, as you went to the back of the motor, it ended up, the main bearing, or the rod bearing, just kept getting darker and darker and darker. And then of course the last one was starving for oil pretty bad, decided to spin and let go. So a few things we did here on this motor is we went and upgraded to the 8.3 oil pump. There's another version of the new 6.7, I believe, that'll go right in this. It's even more volume than the 8.3. But I had a new 8.3 here from last year that got here late and never got it in the original motor. So we went ahead and put that in. And then one other thing we did, and I just got done putting it in, as you see on this block, there's a series of ORB ports, and those are ORB ports. They run along the galley, or the oil galley here. And so I don't know if it'll do anything. So, but what we did is, if you see that one right there, we ended up splicing the oil line, and we're going to feed it oil from the back side of the motor too, plus the original motor, or the original feed area. So how our oil system works is it comes out of this plate here, and then it goes into the filter base down there. I don't know if you can see down in there or not, but it goes into filter base down there, and it's got a pressure regulator down there on it. And you can see we added a T in there, and this line here, this is the line coming up, and this is the line that we put a little T here, and this is where our oil pressure sensor is here. And then it'll feed the block on the other side in the back, and plus we'll tap right into the oil pressure there. And that should give us, I don't know, it'll give us a true read of what the oil pressure is in the back of the motor. If nothing else, where before I had it right off the pump, and it really didn't give us a true read of what was getting to the back of the motor. And that we would have had it back there, we probably would have recognized the problem ahead of time. So another thing we did to this block is the other motor did not have a girdle on it. This block here's got a 3/4 inch plate steel girdle. We did that, and then we're running an HX60 turbo, just a older Columbus turbo. We found this used, Hart's 3x4. It's the GT55 base with the 4-blade wheel, the newer wheel in it. So we're hoping that'll give us some, it should wake the motor up quite a bit, give us quite a bit of performance advantage. But other than that, that is about all we've done to the motor, other than having to rebuild it, do another block. And there's just quite an extensive machine work in these blocks to get them to accept the horsepower. I mean, with the added cam bearings you have to put in there, and the clearance thing for the rods. I've kind of showed that in other videos what we did. But no, we're about ready to get this thing fired up. I tell you, these warmer days have really helped a lot, kind of get us in. One thing we did do, so new this year, and it never was really, it was a rule, but it wasn't, nobody enforced it. So the C right there, that's an SFI sticker on the bell housing. Now, going forward, all organizations and pulling, those have to be inspected every, I believe it's 3 years. Then they have to have an updated SFI sticker on them, and that is mandatory going forward, whether it's the big mods, two-wheel drive pickups, anybody that runs a bell housing, those have to be updated or inspected every 3 years. And just like the blankets that some of the ones with cast bell housings run, those have to be re-inspected, or most of them get new ones put on every 5 years. So that's kind of the things that we've done to this. I'm hoping we don't have hoping just getting the plug in the front of the motor will cure the oil issues we had. And then plus adding a little extra oil going to the back of the motor. I know some guys that run the external oil pumps. We thought about doing that, but we already had the 8.3 pump, and I know I talked to a couple other guys, and they'll run the Avids 3-stage, and they'll do the same thing. They'll feed both sides of the block, and some of them even tap these out even bigger, these ports, and then do it in more than one location. I know one guy that does that. So that's kind of where we're at with the tractor. The truck is going to sit in the shed all year. It is not going to be out. We're going to kind of just let it on hold. We want to get this going. I think this is a lot fun to ride. The truck's fun. I would like to put a blower motor in the truck someday. Just the horsepower difference that you're used to with one vehicle to the other is quite a difference. And just the ride, this here, just you set up higher, and the ride is just a little funner on this thing than it is a pickup. Now, if the pickup had a big blown Hemi, or even heck a big block Chevy, which they can't compete, but even doing something like that, I think the ride would be funner in the truck. And once you've drove one of these, it's kind of like, yeah, it's fun, but it's not that much fun. So we're going to get this going. We're going to run some outlaw points hooks in the light super class. We don't really have any light limited hooks in Iowa. We're not going to go run the NTPAA stuff at all. These little 3x4 smooth bores with what they're allowing on the NTPA turbos now, the Alco motors are going to be very, very disadvantaged. They're not going to be able to keep up. They're guessing 1800 horse with them new NTPA turbos. We're lucky to hit 15, and we could put a bigger HC5 or an HX60 on this and probably sleeve it down. But where the difference between diesel and alcohol is, with us running aluminum rods versus billet steel rods, and even if you talk to Terry Blackburn or some of them big alcohol burning guys, they do not run a lot of boost in their motors, because boost they're more for airflow. So anything over 100 pounds of boost, you're going to be putting a lot of stress on them aluminum rods and these motors. I know I've talked to several of the guys that run the big alcohol motors, and they say that about 100 pounds of boost is all they run, but they run billet aluminum heads that flow ungodly amount of numbers, where we have to run the OEM heads, and so we're very limited on the amount of air we can go through these things. So we, like I said, the air will move faster through the motor on methanol, because it is colder, it burns colder, it doesn't create as much heat. So that's the purpose of alcohol over diesel, because diesel creates a lot of heat, and heat creates horsepower in a diesel motor, where methanol, you're more with spark plugs, creating a spark, creating a reaction in the cylinder with aided by spark, and you do not need that high compression. I think the compression in this motor is probably only 10.5 to 1, maybe, where your diesels, a stock diesel from the factory, your 5.9 from the factory is probably up there around 15 to 1, because they need it in order to compress the diesel in order to get it to fire. And then I think on most of the diesel pulling tractors, they get them down around 13.5 to 1. That's still a lot more than what we run at 10.5, 10 to 1. And I'm sure you start adding turbos and doing stuff like that, you probably even get into lower compression type stuff. So there's where we're at. We're really looking forward to this summer. It's looking like a pretty limited schedule for us. There's just not a lot in our area. We're not going to do a lot of traveling. We got a lot of stuff going on with the grandkids. But we will be out, and we'll be having some fun, and we'll see everybody this summer. Thanks. Bye.